What if a company could run itself? No CEO, no layers of management, just rules written in code and owned by everyone involved. It sounds like science fiction, but a strange new type of organization called a DAO is already making this a reality, and it could mean the end of the CEO as we know it. This isn't just a wild idea, it's a fundamental shift in how we think about power, trust, and how we work together. We're going to explore the world of decentralized autonomous organizations, where every member gets a vote and automated contracts carry out the results. Get ready to discover the powerful technology making these transparent, boss-free companies possible and what it means for the future of work itself. Let's be honest for a second. Think about the modern corporation. For many, it feels broken. We've all been there, stuck in endless meetings where nothing gets decided, trying to push good ideas through endless red tape and feeling like a tiny cog in a giant impersonal machine. Big decisions are made behind closed doors by a handful of executives. By the time the strategy trickles down, it's often watered down, too late, or totally disconnected from what's happening on the ground. This traditional top-down structure is a relic from an era that moved much, much slower. In this model, the CEO and the C-suite are the central command. They hold all the keys, but putting all that power in one place creates massive bottlenecks. A single person, no matter how brilliant, can only process so much. It also creates what's known as the agency problem, where managers might act in their own self-interest instead of what's best for the employees, customers, or even the shareholders they're supposed to serve. There's a basic lack of transparency. How are budgets really set? Why did one project get prioritized over another? For most employees, the company's inner workings are a total black box. You're just expected to trust the leadership, even when you have no clue how or why decisions are made. This creates a culture of just clocking in and clocking out. You don't have a real stake in the game, so why bother? Innovation gets crushed because taking risks is punished, and challenging the status quo can be a career killer. Power is handed down, not always earned. It's a system that breeds frustration and a deep sense of detachment. We've been optimizing this model for a century, and we're hitting its limits. The world is just too fast, too connected, and too complex for such a rigid system to keep up. But what if there was another way? What if we could build organizations that were born on the internet? Organizations that are transparent by default, democratic by design, and automated. This is the radical promise of a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. At its core, a DAO is an organization governed by computer code and owned by its members. Forget the C-suite. In a DAO, the rules are written into software called smart contracts, which run on a shared, secure database called a blockchain. Think of it like a group chat with a shared bank account, where nobody can spend a single dollar unless the group votes on it first. It's an organization with no central boss. Instead of a hierarchy, you have a network. The key words here are a big deal: decentralized, autonomous, and organization. Decentralized, there's no single point of control. Decision-making power is spread out among all the members, so you don't need a central authority. This makes the whole thing more fair and resilient. Autonomous, DAOs run on self-executing smart contracts. Once the members vote to pass a proposal, the code automatically carries out the decision, whether it's sending money, adding new members, or changing its own rules. This cuts out human error and the chance for corruption. Organization. It's still a group of people working toward a common goal. They pool their money, make decisions together, and share in the value they create. The promise here is a total paradigm shift. Imagine a company where the financial books are completely open for anyone to see. Every decision, every vote, and every transaction is recorded on a public ledger that can't be changed. That's transparency by default. Instead of being just an employee, you're a stakeholder. You hold special governance tokens that give you real voting power on the future of the organization. You're not just following a vision handed down from above, you're actively shaping that vision. This completely flips the incentive model. When you have skin in the game, you're driven to contribute your best ideas and work for the good of the group because you share in the success directly. DAOs offer a blueprint for a more fair, transparent, and efficient way to organize people on a global scale. This all sounds great in theory, but how does a company actually run without a CEO or managers? It might sound like magic, but It's just a few key technologies working together. The foundation of it all is the blockchain. You've probably heard of it thanks to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but its real power is as a new kind of shared database. A blockchain is a record book that's copied and spread across thousands of computers worldwide. Because it's decentralized, no single person or company controls it. And because of some clever cryptography, once a record is added, it can't be altered or deleted. This creates trust without needing a middleman like a bank or government. And running on top of the blockchain are smart contracts. A smart contract is just a bit of code that automatically runs when certain conditions are met. The classic analogy is a vending machine. A vending machine has rules coded into its hardware. If you put in the right amount of money and press the button for a snack, the machine gives you that snack. There's no manager to approve it. The rules are the rules, and the machine enforces them. Smart contracts are like that, but for an entire organization. And they are the official rule book of the DAO, written in code and enforced by the whole network. These rules can govern everything: how new members can join, how many votes are needed to pass a proposal, how treasury funds are spent, and how people get paid for their work. Because they run on the blockchain, they're transparent and tamper-proof. No one can secretly change the rules. Any change has to be proposed and voted on by the members, creating a system that's both automated and democratic. Finally, you have governance tokens. In a DIO, you don't have shares in the traditional sense. Instead, membership and voting power are often represented by these digital tokens. Holding a governance token is like having a combination of a membership card and a voting ballot. When a new proposal is put forward, like, well, should we invest in Project X or should we change the fee structure, token holders cast their votes. In many DAOs, the more tokens you hold, the more weight your vote carries. This is what allows thousands of people across the globe to collectively manage an organization and its money, all without ever meeting in person. Together, these three pieces, blockchain, smart contracts, and governance tokens, create the engine for a leaderless company. This technology isn't just theoretical. Thousands of DAOs are operating right now, managing billions of dollars and coordinating complex projects. As of 2025, there are more than 13,000 DAOs in existence, with over 6.5 million people holding governance tokens globally. Let's look at some real-world examples, because this is where it gets fascinating. The story has to start with the original infamous experiment, the DAO. Launched in 2016, it was meant to be a decentralized venture capital fund. It raised an incredible $150 million worth of cryptocurrency from thousands of investors, who would then vote on which projects to fund. It was a revolutionary idea, but it ended in disaster. A hacker exploited a bug in its smart contract code and drained a third of the funds. This event was a catastrophic failure, but also an invaluable lesson. It proved that code is law is a double-edged sword. If your code is flawed, the consequences can be devastating. But from those ashes, new and more resilient DAOs rose up. Fast forward to 2021 and the wild story of Constitution DAO. A group of strangers on the internet spontaneously organized with one audacious goal: to buy a rare original copy of the U.S. Constitution at a Sotheby's auction. In less than a week, they raised over $40 million from thousands of people. They ultimately lost the auction, but they proved something profound about the power of DAOs for lightning-fast, massive collective action. Today, DAOs are being used in incredibly diverse ways. In the world of decentralized finance, or DeFi, powerhouse protocols like MakerDAO and Aave are governed by DAOs. These aren't small clubs. They are essentially decentralized banks that manage billions of dollars in assets, with their token holders voting on everything from interest rates to risk parameters. There are DAOs for collecting art, like Pleaser DAO, which owns the original Doge meme NFT and the one-of-a-kind Wu-Tang Clan album. There are DAOs for funding public goods, like Gitcoin DAO, which has distributed millions to open-source software projects. There are even DAOs with real-world ambitions, like City DAO, an experiment in collectively owning land and attempting to build a blockchain-governed city. And social DAOs like Friends with Benefits act as digital social clubs, throwing parties and launching creative projects. Each of these shows a different side of what's possible when you get rid of central management and give power to the community. Now, before we all quit our jobs and pour our life savings into a DAO, it's critical to understand that this is a frontier, and the frontier is messy. DAOs are not a magic bullet, and they come with a whole lot of challenges. First and foremost is the legal and regulatory chaos. DAOs don't fit into any existing corporate box. Are they partnerships? Are they corporations? Nobody really knows, and the law is a gray area pretty much everywhere. This legal ambiguity creates huge risks. Recent court rulings have suggested that if a DAO isn't a formal legal entity, its members could be treated as general partners, making them personally liable for the DAO's debts and actions. This has led to a rush for DAOs to create legal wrappers, like setting up foundations in places like the Cayman Islands or specialized LLCs in states like Wyoming, just to have a way to interact with the traditional legal and financial world. Second is the problem of voter apathy. For a DAO to work, members actually need to participate, but voter turnout in DAOs is notoriously low, often falling below 20%. When only a small fraction of members are making all the decisions, it undermines the whole idea of decentralization and can lead to a small, active minority taking control. Third, the ghost of the DAO hack still looms large. Smart contract security is a massive concern. A single bug in the code can be exploited, potentially leading to the loss of millions of dollars with no way to get it back. Security audits have become standard practice, but they aren't a guarantee against disaster. Finally, there's the risk of just swapping one type of centralization for another. The one token, one vote model sounds democratic, but it can easily become a plutocracy, rule by the rich. Wealthy individuals or groups, often called whales, can just buy up a majority of the governance tokens and dominate every decision. This recreates the same top-down power dynamic DAOs were meant to get rid of. Newer ideas like quadratic voting are being explored to fix this, but it's still a huge unresolved issue. So, let's go back to our original question. Is this the end of the CEO? Probably not for every company, and definitely not overnight. But DAOs present a powerful and disruptive new way of organizing that's going to fundamentally change the future of work. They challenge the very idea that a hierarchy is necessary. What we're likely to see is a shift from a world of employees to a world of contributors and stakeholders. Imagine a future where your career isn't tied to a single 9-to-5. Instead, you might contribute your skills, whether that's coding, marketing, design, or community management, to several DAOs at once. You're not just earning a salary, you're earning ownership and a real say in the projects you believe in. Your work becomes more fluid, more project-based, and more aligned with your own values. This model is inherently global and permissionless. It allows someone in Southeast Asia to collaborate with someone in North America on equal footing, with their contributions and payments all handled transparently by code. It breaks down the geographic and bureaucratic walls of traditional companies. Even more profoundly, DAOs force us to rethink what leadership even means. In an organization with no bosses, leadership isn't about command and control. It's about influence, reputation, and the ability to persuade others to build a coalition around a good idea. Authority isn't given to you by a title. It's earned by proving your expertise, making valuable proposals, and building trust within the community. It's a huge shift from top-down authority to bottom-up influence. DAOs are still in their infancy. They're part grand experiment, part financial speculation, and part social movement. They are volatile, risky, and face massive legal and structural hurdles. But the core ideas they stand for, radical transparency, decentralized governance, and collective ownership, are incredibly powerful. They are a direct response to the rigid, opaque, and often unfair structures we see all around us. They may not replace every corporation, but they will almost certainly exist alongside them, offering a new way to fund projects, manage communities, and build things from the ground up. They're a glimpse into a future where organizations look less like closed-off fortresses and more like open-source networks. A future where power might truly lie in the hands of the many, not the few. The world of DAOs is evolving every single day. We're already seeing innovations like AI-powered governance tools and new ways for DAOs to operate across different blockchains. If you want to keep up with this strange and exciting future of work, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more explorations into the technologies that are shaping our world. What do you think? Are DAOs the future of business or just a sci-fi fantasy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.